guys, Naz here. Today I'm going to be taking you through how I would pattern the neck and belly gusset for a quadrupedal character. So that could be a dog, a cat, a pony, a four-legged dragon, anything along that sort of line. And you can use the skills you learn in this tutorial to apply to other plushy parts. So this is just a partial gusset that's going to be used as the neck and belly. So what I've done is I've just quickly drawn up a really shoddy drawn pony pattern side piece, because that's what a lot of us are familiar with working with, and it's quite simple. So this is just, this could be you can change it up to have paws, it could be a dog or a cat or whatever you want it to be. But anyway, we've got our side piece patterned, and what we're going to do is we're just going to mark in where our inner leg pieces are going to go. And I won't go into this too much, but let's just say that this is the shape of our inner front leg, and this is the shape of our inner back leg, just to keep things simple. Now what we're going to do with all my gusset making, I go in and I mark the key points along where the gusset is going to go. So we have to work out where we want our gusset to start and where we want it to end. So in this case, it's going to start at the top of the neck, with our first point. And let's just say as our last point, we want it to end about here. So it is going to go from the top of the neck down around the chest. It is going to go between the inner leg pieces here. It is going to go through the belly. It's going to go between the two back leg pieces, and it's going to come up and finish up in the bum here. And you can obviously alter where you want it to start and end depending on what you want to achieve. So I'm going to mark our first point as point 1, and I'm going to look for the other key points in the pattern that I want to mark out to help me with my gusset making process. So I'm going to mark the peak of the chest, the start of the first leg, the end of the first leg, the start of the second leg, the end of the second leg, and where I want it to finish so the top of the bum, sort of where the tail is going to go. And now that we've done this, we can print this out, just mark in where my nap is going to go. We're going to print out our pattern piece to the scale that we want the pattern to be, and I'll see you guys in a second and I'll show you how I draw up the gusset for this. Hey guys, Naz here. I'm recording this a second time because a particularly naughty burb ruined my first recording. So we'll get right back into it. This is how to make the belly gusset on a quadrupedal character. So what we've done is we've drawn the side piece of our quadruped. So in this case, I've just drawn a little pony, and I've marked in where the inside legs are going to go. So we have those little lines marked in. We also have the reference points for the important points on our gusset, where it's going to start and where it's going to end. So we're going to use those to draft up our quadruped gusset. So what we need is a long piece of paper, and I'm going to get my ruler, and I'm going to draw a long straight line to use as the center point for our belly gusset. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to start measuring from point to point along this line here. So starting at the top of the neck, going under the belly and up to the rump, and we're going to use our flexible measuring tape to measure this distance. You can also do this digitally, but I prefer to do it with the measuring tape. It just gives me a more precise measurement. So I'll go ahead and measure. I'm keeping my ruler, my flexible measuring tape along those lines, and I'm going to measure the distance between them and mark them along this. Alright, so now we've got all our distances measured. I usually do it in centimetres to be more exact, and you've also got all your points named, so you put point 1, point 2, point 3, etc. We're going to use our ruler, and we are just going to draw a straight line along the bottom of that piece of paper, and we're going to get our scissors and we are going to chop off any excess just to get that out of our way. So now we have the total length of our belly gusset, and we have all our points and measurements to align with our side pattern piece marked out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work out how wide we want our gusset at each of these points. And this is kind of something you learn as you make more plush. I usually just guess and just do it off the top of my head. But what you can do, if you're not exactly sure how wide you want your gusset to be, is you can get your side pattern and you can put your ruler against it and say, okay, I want the point 1, which is the top of the neck, I want that to be 2 centimeters wide. So we'll go and mark 1 centimeter on each side of that line that we've just drawn next to point 1, and then we're going to go down to point 2, which is the front of the chest, and we're going to say, okay, we want that a little bit wider. So I'm just going to eyeball it here, but you can repeat that process of measuring how wide you'd like that gusset to be. When we get to the points that are going to align with an inside leg piece, what I like to do is I like to cut that inside leg piece off, and we'll mark in, we want the start of the leg, where the start of the leg is, to be this wide, and the back of the leg to be this wide. So we've got those points there, and I'm just going to trace that little U shape on the inside of the leg, so that that gusset and this U shape of the inner leg piece are going to match perfectly, and they're going to be the exact same size and the exact same shape. And we'll just keep going. So point 5 is the start of the back leg, I want it to be here. Point 6 I want to be a fair bit thinner, and then at point 7, where you have your gusset ending, and it's going to be meeting with 2 pieces of fabric sewn together, you want to try and make it into a narrow V shape, so that that gusset almost blends into nothingness. So our final point is going to be 0, so we're going to have a nice V shape coming down to the end there. So what we do once we've marked out all our points is we're going to use our ruler and connect all of them. You can smooth them out a little bit if you want. I find you don't notice that much of a difference, and you can see here that we've started out with, so this is just half of the gusset on the right hand side here. So we have top of the neck, the chest, the front of the first leg, the back of the first leg, the belly, and then that's slowly going to taper into a point at the bottom there. And we folded this in half earlier to get a totally symmetrical piece. So we're going to fold it in half, and we're going to use our scissors, and we're just going to cut along that line that we've drawn, and this is going to give us a relatively symmetrical final gusset. And you can always bring this into Photoshop to perfect and, you know, to sort of mirror it and make sure that it's perfect, but this is a pretty good option. And when we fold that out, we have our final gusset, and that should perfectly fit, sorry, if your measurements are correct, that should perfectly fit your pattern. So I'll give you guys a bit of a look, and we have all our key points marked. Here's where our legs are going to go, and this is going to go up the rump to that point. So it will go, here's our side piece, it will go up like that, it will go under the belly, and it will wrap around the front here. So that's how I pattern my quadrupedal belly / neck gussets. If you have extra legs, if you're making a 6-legged character, you would just keep in mind to put in your little U shapes where those extra legs are going to be, depending on how much you want to pull them in, because those U shapes on the inside leg as well as the gusset are what pull your legs in and stop them from splaying out. So if you have any other questions, feel free to message me. I don't know, I can't help you if I don't know what questions you want answered, and I'm always happy to help you out. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope it helps you pattern some 4-legged critters, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks guys.